This season, PSG redefined dominance in French football. Under Luis Enrique's visionary leadership, they clinched the Ligue title with 6 games to spare, secured the Coupe de France, and are poised for a historic treble with the Champions League final on the horizon. Let's delve into the tactical brilliance, standout performances, and the key players who propelled PSG to new heights. When Luis Enrique took over the reins for PSG back in 2023, many questioned whether his methods could unify a squad that had to transition out of the Kylian Mbappé era. Fast forward a season later, and Luis Enrique would be looking to pick up his second title in French football. He didn't just steady the ship, he re-engineered it from the hull up. Luis Enrique imposed a clear tactical identity built on positional play, suffocating high pressing, and total control through possession. His preferred 4-3-3 structure wasn't static, it was alive. In possession, the system often resembled a 3-2-5 shape, with one fullback inverting, midfielders rotating fluidly, and wide players stretching the opposition. Gone were the days of over-relying on moments of individual brilliance. Instead, PSG became a team with structured patterns that allowed the players to anticipate each other's movement. Every pass had a purpose, every press was triggered with coordination. The results: PSG led Ligue 1 in possession percentage, passes per match, and chances created from open play. Their average of over 60% possession per game wasn't about sterile domination, it was about creating superiority zones. Midfielders like Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz operated in the half spaces, drawing defenders out, while the fullbacks overlapped and underlapped with perfect timing. Enrique also empowered the players to interpret situations in real time. This wasn't a rigid tactical grid, but a blueprint with freedom for expression. Defensively, the transformation was just as stark. PSG's press was structured around triggers, often the moment the ball entered the wide zone or when the opponent received a back-to-goal pass. From January to May, no team in France conceded fewer goals from open play, and they led the league in final third recoveries. Luis Enrique didn't just adapt PSG to a new era, he modernized them. He built a team identity rooted in structure, teamwork, and tactical clarity. In doing so, he may have quietly established himself as the most complete coach in Europe this season. If Luis Enrique was the architect of PSG's revolution, then Ousmane Dembele was its most explosive weapon. After a slow start to the season, former Barcelona winger exploded into form in the second half of the campaign, delivering one of the most impactful individual runs in recent Ligue history. Especially from January onwards, Dembele was absolutely unstoppable. He ended the season in Ligue 1 with 21 goals and 8 assists, which just shows the level that he was able to obtain. And again, as I mentioned, especially from January onwards, a major part of his transformation came from a role tweak. Luis Enrique began positioning Dembele in more central areas during build-up, often drifting into the right half space rather than staying glued to the touchline. This gave him more direct access to goal and allowed PSG to overload the middle, a key part of Enrique's tactical vision. Technically, he was electric. Dembele completed more successful dribbles than any PSG player this season and ranked in the top 5 in Ligue 1 for carries into the penalty area. His two-footedness, rare at the elite level, meant he could shoot or cross with either foot, keeping defenders guessing. But I believe what really set him apart in 2025 was his composure in big moments. Whether it was a top-of-the-table clash or a tense away trip, Dembele delivered. He scored or assisted in 12 of the final 15 league games, earning Player of the Month twice and later Ligue 1 Player of the Season. For years, Dembele's story was one of what could have been, but under Luis Enrique, his former mentor from Barcelona, he finally found the consistency and structure that unlocked his world-class potential. In a post-Mbappé PSG, he became the leader of the attack, not just flashy, but decisive. Ousmane Dembele wasn't just a standout performer, he was the face of PSG's transformation. If Ousmane Dembele provided the cutting edge, then PSG's midfield trio of Fabian Ruiz, João Neves and Vitinha was the orchestrator behind the brilliance, composed, intricate and endlessly in control. Luis Enrique's system demanded midfielders who could dominate possession while also covering vast amounts of space without the ball. He found that balance in these three players, each offering a distinct yet complementary skill set. Let's start off with Joao Neves. The 19-year-old arrived from Benfica with big expectations, and he delivered beyond belief. Neves became the glue of PSG's midfield, operating as a single pivot in Enrique's 4-3-3. His anticipation and positional IQ were elite. He ranked among Ligue's best for interceptions and defensive ground duels won, while also boasting over 90% pass accuracy in the middle third. But I think what stood out was his bravery in possession. Neves was never just recycling the ball, he was advancing it through pressure with quick turns, disguised passes and progressive carries. Alongside him, Fabian Ruiz played the role of the tempo setter. He would often drop deep to help in build-up, and he would act as metronome for Enrique's positional rotations. According to the stats, he completed over 87 passes per 90 minutes, with a remarkable rate of progressive passes and switches of play. His left foot gave PSG balance when building from the back, and his calmness under pressure allowed the team to reset and stretch opponents laterally. Then there is Vitinha, probably PSG's most important midfielder and the most advanced of the three, and arguably the breakout star of the season. Deployed in the right interior role, Vitinha thrived in the right half space, constantly combining with Dembele and Hakimi. He would finish the season with 7 goals and 2 assists, but what was more important was his connection between the midfield and the attack. His ability to carry the ball past pressure, create in tight spaces, and time his late runs into the box gave PSG an extra dimension. What makes this trio so special isn't just the individual talent, it's their chemistry. Neves shielded the back line, while Ruiz dictated the tempo and Vitinha injected verticality. They moved as a unit, pressing in sync, rotating roles based on game context, and, most importantly, controlling the tempo of every match. In a league where transitions can often decide games, PSG's midfield gave them total control. Whether facing deep blocks or high presses, this trio adapted, imposed their style, and suffocated opponents. They weren't just functional, they were elite. Together, they formed one of the most intelligent and complete midfield units in all of European football this season. In Luis Enrique's tactical ecosystem, fullbacks aren't just defenders, they are engines, creators, and space manipulators. And in Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, PSG had 2 of the best modern fullbacks in world football operating on each flank. Let's start with Hakimi. The Moroccan international played a vital dual role in traditional wide fullback in the attacking phase and an inverted fullback when PSG wanted midfield superiority. He was relentless down the right-hand side, overlapping Ousmane Dembele or Barcola or Kvaratskhelia, whoever was on that side, and often acting as the width provider when those players cut inside. But his biggest asset and biggest value was him in transitions. His pace, timing, and ability to arrive in the box made him a constant threat. He ended the Ligue 1 season with 4 goals and 8 assists, and among Ligue 1 defenders, he led the league in expected assists and progressive carries. Defensively, he improved significantly under Enrique's guidance, pressing high and covering ground in recovery faster than almost any player in the league. On the left-hand side, Nuno Mendes had a more complex role. Still quite young, the Portuguese fullback returned from early season injury and instantly redefined PSG's balance. Mendes was used in 2 ways, sometimes hugging the touchline to pin back opposition wingers, and other times tucking into midfield to form a back 3 during build-up. This would allow Fabian Ruiz or João Neves to push up without losing defensive structure. Mendes brought verticality with his driving runs and was a constant outlet for switches of play. His 1v1 defending was rock solid, and his high pressing coordination with Vitinha and Ruiz allowed PSG to suffocate opposition build-ups down the left-hand side. Together, Hakimi and Mendes gave PSG something every top team craves. Fullbacks who could dominate both ends of the pitch. They stretched the field in attack, gave width when wingers tucked in, and recovered defensively within seconds. They weren't just defenders, they were launch pads, and their presence on the flanks helped PSG dominate Ligue 1 in territory, tempo, and total control. Under Luis Enrique's stewardship, PSG transformed into a cohesive and formidable unit. With a blend of tactical innovation and individual brilliance, they've set new benchmarks in French football. As they prepare for the Champions League final, the prospect of a historic treble looms large. But of course, before we even get to the Champions League final, we've still got episode 4 of our Champions edition to come out. So make sure you guys stay locked in for the Bayern Munich Champions edition. As always, guys, make sure to hit that like button, share and subscribe to the channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you're old here, guys, I'll catch you soon. Peace.